I know exactly what you have been told your whole life. You have been told that you are too sensitive, too emotional, or perhaps even too weak. You have likely spent years apologizing for your tears and questioning why you seem to feel the weight of the world while others walk through it untouched. But I am here today to tell you that the diagnosis you have been given by society is fundamentally wrong. There is nothing broken about you, and you are certainly not a mistake. In the world of psychology, you are what we call a highly sensitive person, or a supersensor. While most people are recording their lives in standard definition, your brain is recording every interaction in 8K resolution. You see the micro expressions that others miss. You feel the shifts in a room before a single word is spoken, and you possess a level of empathy that is supposed to be a human superpower. Yet, you find yourself exhausted, burnt out, and repeatedly targeted by the exact type of person you fear most. You keep asking the same painful question: why do I attract these people? Why do I keep finding myself in the orbit of those who twist reality, use my secrets as weapons, and leave me questioning my own sanity? Today, we are going to look at the cold, hard neuroscience that explains why this happens. We are going to move past the surface level advice of just setting boundaries and look at what is actually happening inside your brain and theirs. Because when you understand the biological hardware of a predator, you finally stop blaming your own software. To understand why you are a magnet for toxic people, we must first define what we are dealing with. Psychology uses a specific clinical taxonomy for this, known as the Dark Tetrad of personality. This isn't just a list of bad habits. It is a structural difference in how certain individuals process the world. The first pillar is narcissism, which is often characterized by a fragile ego hidden beneath a veneer of extreme confidence. The second is Machiavellianism, the cold strategists who view every human being as a chess piece to be positioned for their own gain. The third is psychopathy, defined by a profound lack of fear, high impulsivity, and a complete absence of remorse. And the fourth, which researchers have recently highlighted as the most dangerous, is everyday sadism. Sadism is unique because it explains behavior that seems to have no logical purpose other than the enjoyment of another person's suffering. When a sadist watches you squirm or cry, their brain experiences a massive release of dopamine. They aren't hurting you because they are misunderstood. They are hurting you because, for their unique brain chemistry, it feels good. Now, here is where the tragedy of the exhausted empath begins. You possess what we call high affective empathy, which means you don't just understand someone's pain, you actually feel it in your own body. When you see someone suffering, your mirror neurons fire, and your brain tells you that you are suffering too. Naturally, you assume that everyone else functions this way. You assume that if you just explain your pain clearly enough, they will feel a version of it and stop. But the research shows that for those in the Dark Tetrad, the hardware is fundamentally different. Functional MRI studies have shown that in psychopathic individuals, the empathy centers of the brain have what is essentially a default off switch. They possess something called empathy dissociation. This means they have very high cognitive empathy. They can intellectually understand exactly what you are feeling and why. This is how they know exactly which button to press to make you stay, or which insecurity to exploit to make you crumble. They read you like a master musician reads a sheet of music. But while they know the words to the song, they cannot hear the music. They know you are in pain, but they do not feel it, and therefore, they have no biological reason to stop causing it. In fact, during the love bombing phase of a relationship, they voluntarily flip the switch on to mimic your emotions. They mirror your soul, reflect your desires, and make you feel like you have finally found someone who truly sees you. But it is a performance designed to hook you into their orbit. Once they know you are attached, they flip the switch off and the dismantling begins. This leads us to the most powerful addiction mechanism known to psychology: intermittent reinforcement. If a person was cruel to you 100% of the time, you would leave immediately. But they aren't. They give you breadcrumbs of that perfect, charming person you first met. They offer a flash of warmth followed by a week of coldness. Your brain becomes like a gambler at a slot machine in a casino. You keep pulling the lever, ignoring the losses, because you are addicted to the unpredictable win. Chemically, your brain is being flooded with cortisol during the stress and then dopamine during the reconciliation. This creates what we call a traumatic bond. It is not love, it is a biological addiction to the source of your pain. Over time, this chronic emotional abuse causes physical changes in your brain. Prolonged exposure to gaslighting and high stress actually shrinks the hippocampus, the area of your brain responsible for memory and context. At the same time, it enlarges the amygdala, keeping you in a permanent state of fight or flight. This is why you feel that brain fog and the inability to think clearly enough to plan an escape. You're not becoming stupid. Your brain is physically under siege. Many people watching this might feel a sense of envy toward these cold, calculating individuals. You might think, I wish I could just turn off my feelings so I wouldn't have to hurt anymore. It looks like a superpower, a cheat code for navigating a harsh world without anxiety. But you must understand the hidden price tag of that armor. Because of their unique brain chemistry, these individuals are stuck on what psychologists call a hedonic treadmill. They are biologically blocked from accessing the warm, oxytocin-based joy that comes from true trust or a simple, peaceful sunset. They can never be known by another human being because they can never let anyone in. Every person in their life is a transaction, and every victory they achieve is empty. They are running faster and faster just to feel anything at all, yet they are chemically incapable of peace. So, do not envy the machine. It runs fast, but it runs on empty. Now, what do you do with this realization? You have been trying to solve this problem with warmth, patience, and better communication. But you cannot use software to fix a hardware problem. You're playing for connection, while they are playing for control. The first step to breaking the spell is to change the lens through which you view them. Stop looking at them with anger, because anger is still a form of intense attachment. Instead, start looking at them with clinical detachment. When they rage at you, don't see your own failure. See a narcissistic injury reacting to a lack of attention. When they lie, see a Machiavellian strategy being deployed to maintain a position. When they hurt you with a smile, recognize the sadistic dopamine hit occurring in their brain. Realize that their behavior says absolutely everything about their broken hardware and nothing about your worth. You are not targeted because you are weak. You are targeted because you are high-yield supply. You have the light, the empathy, and the vitality that they lack but desperately need to consume. But that light belongs to you, and you have the power to withdraw it. From this moment on, your path to freedom begins with the gray rock method. Predators seek a reaction. They seek the spike in your emotions to fuel their own ego. When you become as boring and unresponsive as a gray rock, you become low-yield supply. When you stop providing the emotional drama they crave, they will eventually lose interest and move on to a different target. It will be difficult at first, because your brain is still addicted to the cycle of intermittent reinforcement. You will feel the urge to explain yourself one last time, to make them understand how much they have hurt you. But you must remind yourself, the switch is off. There is no one home to receive your message. Instead, turn that immense power of empathy inward. Start mothering or fathering your own wounded inner child who has been under attack for so long. Focus on the physical recovery of your brain. Rest, silence, and predictable, safe environments are the only things that will allow your hippocampus to regrow and your amygdala to calm down. You have spent your whole life being a super sensor for everyone else's needs. It is time to use that 8K resolution to see your own value. You are a person of profound depth and creativity in a world that often prizes the shallow. The world needs your sensitivity, but it needs you to be the architect of your own boundaries first. You are the only person who can decide Who gets access to your energy? The truth I have shared today is the diagnosis, but your daily choices are the cure. Take a deep breath and realize that the fog is starting to lift. You know the truth now, and the truth is the beginning of your freedom. I have created a clinical checklist for you to download in the description below to help you objectively spot these red flags. In our next video, we will go even deeper into the specific psychological strategies to handle these personalities in the workplace and in family dynamics. We will look at how to finally break that trauma bond for good and rebuild your life on your own terms. But for today, your only job is to acknowledge the reality of the situation. You are not the problem. The mismatch of hardware was the problem. And now that you can see the machine for what it is, you're no longer its prisoner. Be kind to yourself today. You have survived a hidden war, and you are still here. I will see you in the next one.